We're excited to be here partnering with Big Commerce, and we're going to be talking to you today about content strategy and kind of the power of the platform that you're choosing for e-commerce, and also the power of the partnership and the strategy to help build that experience. And so we have with us Kate Thomas, who's our Associate Director of Content Strategy at Springbox, and Tracy Wallace, the Editor-in-Chief at Big Commerce. And I'm really going to let them run the show here.
Thanks, Jenny. This is quite a kind of a free-form session. So Tracy and I have worked on a presentation together, but it's just a few slides that are not showing up. Stand by. Loose connection. Okay, so just a few slides to guide the conversation and Q&A at the end. So we'll lay out a few things and then chime away with questions at the end. And moving on.
So far, so good.
Alright, so just a quick overview, introduction who we are. And we thought we'd talk about this in terms of a customer journey. So we're talking about e-commerce, and very much, and this theme will come through from the talks that Tracy and I both speak to, about making sure everything is user-centered. It's sort of their journey, not your journey. So we thought we'd take this structure for our talk. So finding, buying, and nurturing our customers, and what you need to do to make it happen. So, we're talking about the importance of strategy in e-commerce experiences. So as I just said, finding, buying, and nurturing. And with a platform like Big Commerce, you have a great sort of foundation, but not if you don't create great content to get there. And Tracy can speak to case studies where people, some of her clients, apply great strategy and those who don't, and the impact on the bottom line.
Yep. Hi, everybody. Tracy here. I'm the editor-in-chief over at Big Commerce, which essentially just means I talk to about 2 to 5 different e-commerce brands each week, most of them making more than $1 million annually, up to about $100 million in annual sales. And then really just ask them, what the heck are you doing to do well? And so that's where a lot of my insight will come from for the most part. So I'll be name dropping a few brands for you guys in here, so be sure that you have notepads out to take note of those brands if we don't have those on the slides. And then also just talking quite a bit about, yes, finding, buying, and nurturing, but why that's so incredibly important. By and large, when you are finding customers, you are spending money to find them. If you aren't nurturing them to become repeat customers, you are losing money ultimately. You need to make sure that you are getting your return on ad spend across the board. We're going to be talking about how content can help you do that, both at the beginning to help lower your acquisition costs, to get people to convert, and then to actually get them back and convert again.
This is us. If you need to get in touch with us, I'm sure, just go via groups or talk to us afterwards. Okay, first you need to set content up for success. So an e-commerce platform, from my perspective, is like any kind of other content platform. You need to do a few basic things to make sure your content is findable. So for any content, it should be user-centered, well-written, well-structured, because of course, content is consumed and delivered by machines to get it to people's iPhones or iPads or computers, whatever they're using to browse to find your brand websites. So to make sure that can happen, you need to set it up and structure it, tag it at the back end and the front end in a particular way. Another point is content types, and it's a case, isn't it, Tracy, that some content types perform better than others?
Yes, that is the case.
Segue!
Yeah, sure. So since we're in the find part of this, I guess first question, how many people in here are reselling products versus, well, let's do reselling products. Raise of hands. Awesome. How many people are selling unique products? I'd imagine everybody else at that point. Perfect. So let's start with the reselling side of things. I'm going to say something and just assume that everybody knows this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you are not rewriting your product descriptions, shame on you. You should be rewriting all of your product descriptions, and not just rewriting them so that they're like more readable and aren't just talking about technology or the specs, but rewriting them in a way that actually meshes with what your brand personality is. When you're reselling products, the number one, like the big advantage that you ultimately have is a brand. You are getting products from somebody else rather than putting time into actually, build a new product. What you're doing with that time instead is actually building a brand. So you need to understand who those customers are, how they want to be spoken to, get really great photos, really write these things out in a way that appeal to them. Beyond that, the way people are going to actually find you is through SEO. So we'll talk about that one first. This is also true for unique products, but by and large, you are writing your own product descriptions because you have to, and you know your product really, really well. You actually probably have a really good reason why you created it. So I would rely on that pretty heavily to help you build out that product description. But Google specifically is going to be looking for unique content as well as engaging content on your own site, especially for mobile SEO. And that's going to mean video by and large. So many people, and I guess I can name a few brands here. Well, I'll say this first and then name the brands. We're seeing a lot of brands actually using their product pages to turn them into landing pages, which means you need to have a few psychological triggers on there, whether that is scarcity or bundles. Bundles do really, really well, but really building those pages out, one, to talk about the benefits of your product, talking to your customer intelligently, and then showing people exactly how to use that product. Video does really, really well for this, and Google is ranking it really highly on mobile, where a lot of your shoppers are likely going to be coming from. You can use, Amazon Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal, One Touch in order to help actually make that conversion at the end of the day. A few people who are doing this really, really well, if you want to write them down, Bontech Golf has fabulous product pages that are converting ridiculously high. I believe it's at the 12 or 15% rate. From their Facebook ads in general, they're actually converting people over using bundles. So they're selling a $300 driver, bundling that with, I'm not good at golf, another golf club, bundling it with that, and getting people to essentially act on something that is $300 as though it's like an instantaneous purchase, right? Somebody sees it on Facebook, is like, oh my gosh, that's such a value, I have to get it now. They're doing that with videos on Facebook and then reusing similar videos on their own product page to really continue to drive that home. I could talk about what they're doing, I guess, afterwards as well, because they do all of this really, really well. But Solo Stove is another really, really great example of this. Again, using both product video as well as, this is a great example actually for a custom product or a unique product that's pretty technical. They actually draw everything out and really show you exactly what each thing is. Why all of this is so important is because you need to get people to stay on that page. It's a signal to Google that people are interacting with your content, which means you're going to move up in those rankings. Moving up in those rankings is incredibly important, so you can spend less on ads over time and more on, nurturing those people to come back and just getting that traffic from organic.
And kind of the only way to do that is if you establish upfront a content strategy that says, this is who we are, this is who we talk to, this is how we talk about ourselves in this particular way. So by the time you get to creating words for an ad and then getting an illustration or an image to accompany that ad, you're not sort of blind or in the dark. You know exactly what you need to say, how to say it, and you align resources accordingly.
Yeah, oh, sorry, could I add something there? So if you don't know how to figure out what your customers are looking for from you, there's tons of really, really great tools out there. I work for Big Commerce, so I clearly know the platform really, really well. If you are using that platform, you can look in your analytics section. There's an on-site search section that will show you what people are searching for on your site, if anything's showing up, if things are showing up, how well those things are converting. That's really helpful for understanding what your actual customers are looking for, both to understand their voice as well as to understand any particular upcoming trends. You can also use tools like Hotjar, right? That's going to track people across your site to help you understand what people are looking at, how long they're staying, where their eyes are going, and then clearly you can also do surveys as well. Anyways, just a few tools to help.
And I mean, if you wanted to do some A/B testing, you have to understand what it is you're testing against. So you need to do that work up front to set your strategic agenda and then measure against it. Okay, so people have found you. You set up, you've got this awesome content. They've found you amazing. And they've landed on a page and you want to make it really easy for them to buy. Okay, so you're only halfway there now. So with a platform like BigCommerce, you've got them there and you've got these sort of spaces to fill, but what are you going to fill those buckets with? So first up, again, make it easy for people. Don't put hurdles in their way. So there are lots of different payment options these days. Make the right choice for you that makes sense for you, for your customers. I'm not sure if you know what your customers' payment preferences are. Is that something you can discover in BigCommerce?
To an extent.
Yeah.
We know what payment preferences are across the board.
Yeah.
I can talk about that in just a moment.
Yeah, fine. From a content perspective, you know, you want to sort of reveal information at different times. So if people are searching for a pair of jeans or a pair of sneakers or something like that, the first thing you want is, you know, the image, the name, brief description. That comes up in Google search, and they link through to their product landing page. And I think there's that internal kind of check. Is this the right thing? What's going on? Are there other colours, sizes? Is it for me? And so gradually, the eye will be drawn to, this is the right product. I think I want to buy. What can I do? So this is where you start to show things like, save the page now to, you know, for browsing later or to share with someone. If I want to purchase now, is it clear how I do that? I'm not sure. I need reassurance. You know, what happens if I buy? I'm nervous. Can I get a refund? So you don't have to put all of that information on the page itself. But remember, these are landing pages that no one's coming through your homepage necessarily. They're coming through search directly into the bottom of, you know, a massive database. So just have helpful pointers to helpful information that make it easy for people to buy from you. And the third point there, to test and learn with analytics. With BigCommerce, you can do that. You can sort of run different tests and understand what's working, what's not. But again, only if you've got things set up at the front to start with.
Yeah, so anybody in here know what the average e-commerce conversion rate is? Just off the top of your head. 2.3. 2.3, that's good. It's better than I thought it was. 2 is what most sites say, and honestly, for most industry, it's actually lower than that. Which is insane. So that means if you are doing really well, 2% of the traffic you send to your site is going to buy something from you. That's absurd. The goal is to get it much higher than that, ideally, which one is why it's so important to make sure that you're finding the right audience to drive to your page, but optimizing that page so that people can check out as quickly as possible is so important. Think about the way that you go to websites, right? You see something online, or I don't know, maybe you're like searching for a product to buy, and instead of going to Amazon, you go to Google, which is you're already halved, right? I mean, only half of the, at least US population that begins on Google rather than on Amazon for this. So you start there, you type something in, you land on a site, you like the product, you have no idea who this brand is. Either you really, really like that product and they convince you to learn about it right there, or you're probably gonna go somewhere else and be like, oh, can I find something similar from a brand that I know? Or like, what are other people saying about this? Like, you have a second to catch that person right there where they're at. And that's if you've done SEO really well and have landed up there at the top, right? If you happen to be the one that they click on. So multiple ways that you do this. One, talking about product pages as landing pages, making sure all of the information is there. Helps so much for SEO, especially if you get a bunch of videos on there. Again, you don't have to just use one. Go look up on TechGolf's video or their product pages. They have like 5 videos on there. It's amazing. Some people use things that kind of look like infographics, right? To really kind of show and visualize for people exactly what the product is, how it's going to help. Customer reviews are crazy important, and these don't just have to be at the bottom of the page, right? Pull those things up, try to get stuff like closer to the visibility for that customer that's scrolling through. Social proof is just nuts amazing. And if you've had any magazines or anybody else talk about you, move that up as well. And anything that you ever use on your home page, if it's like, oh, Elle Magazine has talked about me, get that on your product page as well. People are coming in and viewing your product and your entire brand on your product page just as often, if not more often, and likely over time going to be more often, via your product page rather than your home page. That's a really good thing. You're cutting out one step to get them down the funnel, right? But now you have to work a little bit harder. Each one of those product pages needs to work in a way that actually pushes people, not just that 2% of people, ideally 5%, right? That's what I like to hope, at least. So move your customer reviews up. Go ahead and include FAQs on pages. The way that you can figure out which FAQs to include, multiple ways. One, just common questions people ask you in general. You can also go ahead and have an FAQs page. Don't worry about duplicate content at this point. Is anybody in here worried about duplicate content and implications for SEO? Great, cool, so we won't talk about that. Awesome, so go ahead and have an actual FAQ page, but include the FAQs on the product page as well. A brand who does all of this really, really well is called Story Your Board. It is insanely impressive what they are doing over on their site. They are using their reviews to, one, rank incredibly well on Google, but also really to get people to convert super highly on their page. I think they have about a 6% conversion rate for like things you hang up on your wall to store your surfboards, which is really, really impressive. Also, payment options are very, very important. Now, you're beginning to get a little bit off of your actual product page at this point in time when someone adds to cart and then gets over to the potential buying portion. You want to make sure that they can do that as quickly as possible, especially for mobile. So I've already mentioned Amazon Pay, Apple Pay, and PayPal One Touch. Amazon Pay in particular is doing really, really well. People who implement that are within about, like a week, seeing 20 to 80% of their audience on mobile check out through Amazon Pay. So if you don't have that on your site now, or if your e-commerce platform doesn't integrate with it, figure out a way to make that happen. It's working really, really well, both on desktop and mobile. It's not even just a mobile solution. What else is doing well? I think that might be all I have.
Yeah, I mean, but whatever's doing well for other brands may or may not work for your brand. The content has to be in your tone of voice. It has to suit you. It has to suit your product. It has to fit with your world of content, not your competitor's world. I mean, and having something like reviews on the product page, I mean, it's a risky thing for lots of businesses because you're opening a channel to user-generated content. That's just like, a lot of people who are risk averse won't want to do that. But transparency and openness will trump nearly everything else. And that sends a message to your customers that, trust us. Even if people we're opening ourselves to potential criticism or not 5-star reviews all the time. Perhaps you can curate those, but just be open and plan and schedule such things.
Reviews can play into the nurture part as well, which I have a feeling we are going to move into decently soon.
What was that? The nurture part. I've looked at it. Yeah. So this is the detail of the product pages that be really focused and specific about what content is working, what you're trying to say, and plan to update this. Keep content fresh via an editorial calendar. You don't want to be working till midnight every night, sort of tapping into things, updating websites. Just schedule these things, resource them, and support them properly. The only other point there to talk about product pages. Be realistic about what you can support. So we'll be showing a video sort of in a minute. We'll be looking at Tyler's website. So Springbox has worked with Tyler's using the big commerce platform to create a new e-commerce solution. Tyler's has thousands and thousands of products. Another brand who uses BigCommerce, Tecovas Boots, has a handful of products. So Tecovas has an opportunity to create high quality, detailed, rich, deep content about each product. But Tyler's can't possibly support that. Instead they need to sort of take a realistic assessment. What can we say about each product? As Tracy said, it's important to rewrite product descriptions to bring your own tone of voice to it. For Tyler's to do that is already a massive undertaking, let alone all of the other nice things around it. So be realistic and plan and to support whatever you're doing. So they're really good they're two ends of the scale, sort of boutique specialist at one end and sort of high volume sort of products at the other. Both, the end user doesn't mind. It's a slightly different experience, but they're going to expect to see the same sorts of things on a product page on these other pages. So just keep scale and what you can support for your brands in mind.
Yeah, how many people in here have more than 50 SKUs on their site? Cool, and everybody else has less? Yes? Okay, it's a yes or no question, I guess. Anyway, if you have more than 50 SKUs and you do not think that it is possible to do a video, for instance, for every single one of your products, or to get super graphical, or to make every single one of those product pages a landing page, know that you are not alone. That is not a crazy thought. That is a very smart thought. You truly do not have the time. What begins to really matter for sites, again, that have 50 or more SKUs or products that they're selling are your category pages. It's crazy important at that point in time that your category pages are optimized for search, that you're including the right information. This means text likely above, so say, this means text above. So when you get to a category page, right, it's, the brand, the navigation in general, the women's t-shirts, and then often a really short description right there before you actually drop into the products. That's really, really important for any search engine to look through and understand what exactly it is that this page is trying to get across. Often what we see is that category pages can begin to rank for shorter tail keywords, whereas product pages and product pages / landing pages rank for longer tail keywords. This is a difference in where people are in their overall buying journey, right? If I'm searching for tennis shoes, I ideally want to land on a category page so I can see my options of tennis shoes. If I'm searching for Nike black tennis shoes in size 8 women's, I have a pretty good idea of what I'm actually looking for. At that point, it's better to drop me on a landing page, product page. Google knows this. So think about your product page and category pages in those two different ways. Product pages optimized for long tail keywords, category pages optimized for shorter.
Another way to think about it is not all content is equal. So you don't sort of spend hours and hours slavishly creating uniformly kind of perfect product pages when everyone, investing half that time in a category page will get just as many people. So, that's something to take away. Not all content is equal, and you need to decide what is the most important for your brand. Well, go back. Nurture. Okay, so just to keep track of where we are in our journey, because of our awesome content, our customers have been able to find us, they've been able to buy from us. They were so reassured by all the supporting content that they trusted our brand, they knew that they could return it if it was the wrong size, or the wrong colour. And so they're talking about it with their friends. So perhaps they won't do that straight away, perhaps they'll buy from you again. So how do you create return customers with content? So again, the difference, if, as Tracy said, only 2% of people who have found have actually gone through to this stage, 98% of people haven't. So what can you do? Just converting 1 or 2% of those is a lot of people to get there. So how do you retain and nurture customers with content? So first, you make it easy for people to buy from you, but not just once. So do a follow-up email. When we were working with Tyler's, we were researching and we're looking at lots of different e-commerce sites, and a straw poll around the office, and people who bought women's clothes from various stores in Austin said the follow-up email that stores would send to say, hey, did you get your product? What was it like? What was this like? Was that a good experience? encourage them to return by, to sort of to go back to the site and revisit. But the second point there, you have to back that up with a business process. You can't just magically send out sort of emails randomly. It'll just sort of annoy people and they'll go into their spam folders. So make sure you've got business processes set up to support whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And that comes back to your content strategy, always has to tie back to your business strategy. Content is just your business manifest on the web, so you're trying to get people to buy from you with different words and images. So make sure you back that up with different business processes.
I was on a call with somebody about 30 minutes ago who said, if you are not building, or if you are not nurturing your email list and regularly going through it, weeding it of the people who are not responding, if you do not have an open rate of 20% or more, having essentially a very engaged email list, then you just don't care about money, really what he said. And I laughed and he told me not to tweet it, but now I'm saying it here. Anyway, it's true. It's easier to get people who have already bought from you to buy from you again, right? All of that work to get somebody to trust you, to get them to find you. You put a lot of work in there. You want that person to come back and buy from you again and again, because one, now you have their email and you can talk to them directly. They've given you something of theirs. But beyond that, you want to make sure that these people are super engaged. You need to, one, use an email platform provider. So, MailChimp is a really good one, and Infusionsoft Klaviyo does really great work. There are a bunch that do a lot of stuff with receipt emails now. Receipt emails, by the way, the #1 most opened email from retail companies that exist. A really great place to do upsells and encourage people to buy from you again. But yeah. Beyond that, does anybody in here know Noah Kagan? He started a really great company here in Austin called Sumo. Yeah, awesome, cool. Okay, Noah has, over the course of building his company, sent more than 100 million emails, which is nuts. So he knows a thing or two about what gets people to open those emails. And I interviewed him not too long ago, and essentially what he said was, you are in a relationship when you are sending an email to these people, the same way that you are when you are hanging out with your friends, sure, but it's better to think of it as a marriage relationship. You need to treat those people, one, like they are heard and respected constantly. You need to ask for their feedback, literally in the email, ask for their feedback. That makes sure that one, once they actually respond to you and you respond back and you can talk to them more, even from automated emails, yes. That increases your scores for Gmail and other email inboxes, I suppose, so that you don't end up in the spam or trash folders automatically, which Google is continuously doing more and more to a lot of companies. So the larger your email list gets, the more important it is that those people aren't just engaged in clicking on it and clicking through, but that they're actually emailing you back, asking questions, interacting with you beyond an automated email. Some really, really great ways that you can keep these people engaged is one, clearly send in a receipt email and figure out ways to try to upsell them a little bit, right? So you bought this really great product, that's amazing. Did you know that, XYZ% of people, maybe don't say that if you have a particularly unique product, but a number of people who have bought that have also bought this, and here's some social proof about how much those people have really liked it, or here's an image of how much of people using these things together, or here's a cool event that we're doing, or make sure that you follow us here. Hey, if you hashtag yourself in this new outfit, it's going to show up on our site. Pink Lily does that extremely well. Man crates, though. Anybody here heard of man crates? They sell gifts for men. Yes, awesome. You should totally buy one. They're really hard to open. They duct tape them up, and you have to use a crowbar to get them open, and it's real fun to watch people open them. All that's usually in it is beef jerky, but still really, really fun and a fun gift. But they do something really, really cool after you buy the product. Through email, they'll message you and be like, hey, thanks so much for buying this. So excited that XYZ person's going to buy it. Do you have any other men in your life that you would like to buy this for? Father's Day is this day. Would you like to give us your email to send you a reminder on this day? When's your dad's birthday? What about your grandpa? Do you have a brother? Do you just have a good friend? And they just set up these automated emails for you that, one, you opt into. And all they're going to do is a week, 2 weeks before that birthday or that date, send you an email that's like, hey, you asked for us to let you know right before this happened, make sure you get this now. They're not even offering discounts. They're just like, hey, a friendly reminder so you don't look like a jerk for forgetting. And it works like ridiculously well. So there are tons of ways that you can just kind of game the system a little bit, which ultimately isn't actually gaming the system, right? Mancrates is providing a lot of value to people. If you aren't keeping those things on your calendar, having them remind you to get a gift and have a link exactly to something that you might want and a gift that you know specifically the last person you bought really, really liked, it's going to be, that's value for you as the customer. At the end of the day, you're just treating people, again, like they're friends, like you were married to them. It's going to be a lot easier to get those people to come back than it is to try to get someone new to buy from you.
But of course, the second point there, back it up with the business process, because in that description, Tracy's like hinted at, you need an editorial calendar to manage when you're going to send these things out. You need to make sure you're briefing your copywriters in plenty of time ahead. I mean, Father's Day is a fixed time of year, but people's birthdays are throughout the calendar year. So how do you support that in a kind of realistic way that matches up to your tone of voice, uses your language? You can't just have someone shoot off, the local, the intern that you've got to shoot off some emails. Writing, you have so few words. Words count now more than ever before. So really invest in that content and make sure every word counts. So, you don't have much space, so make it count.
Yeah, I think the point there, I think, is that invest early on in what you put in automation. 10 minutes. Okay. Invest early on in what you put into automation. It's going to pay off massively in the end. I've heard this from SMBs, really people just starting up, all the way up to people making 100 mil in annual revenue. You cannot send random offshoot emails. It's just not going to work. It's not scalable for your business. What you can do is spend the time at the very beginning to come up with email strategies, A/B test emails as you need to, figure out what works, and then get those things in streams, email nurture streams. If you aren't already doing this, look it up. There's tons of ideas out there on how to do this crazy well. MailChimp, all of those folks make it very, very easy. Well, easy. You still have to write the copy, but they'll help you set it all up. But yeah, spend time in automation copy before, just early on, spend time there.
Making it happen. We've already talked a little bit about this, but just to pick on what we're just saying, you need to plan for sustainable success. Oh, go back. So to do that, you want to create user-centered content. As I said before, your reality is less important than your users. Keep your customers and their needs at top of mind. Create a sustainable system, invest in it, serve the right content at the right time, and scale for growth. So this is all just planning.
Yeah, and know that it's okay to start small.
Yeah.
Completely fine to start small. Test it, figure out what works, and then scale over time. There's no shame, there's no embarrassment, there's no anything in saying, I just don't have the time to do this one thing right now. I'm going to focus my time on this, make it work, invest, and then move on to the next thing.
So to prepare for success, content in an e-commerce context, it can make money for you because it can decreases your ad spend because people are finding you via organic SEO search, increase conversion, and create repeat customers, as we've been talking. And I'm just moving through because Jenny is. But this doesn't happen magically. We invested in those down bunny years. I was hoping for a bigger reaction. I'm going to do that again. Really? See, it doesn't happen magically. Bummer. Thank you. So to do that, establish intent with strategy, align resources to make it happen, and boom.
Boom, use tools. They're helpful.
Yes, use tools. Tools are available. They're cheap and ubiquitous. Any questions? Oh, what? I clearly have a limit to the amount I can present before it starts to go wrong.
Does anybody have any questions that they want to run up here?
B, like a bomb tech.
Any comments on the best converting paid traffic?
Facebook, if you get your stuff right, your targeting right. It's the best growth channel by and far for every e-commerce brand that I see that's doing it well.
Any thoughts on Instagram paying influencers to give you a shout out?
Paying influencers to give you a shout out. I've heard it done better where people are essentially giving influencers product for free and building themselves a community and network that way rather than actually paying them. Influencer marketing is really hard now, right? I mean, 2-3 years ago, it was just like getting people to talk about you, and now it has a name and a strategy. I would definitely test it if you have the cash flow to do so. If you don't, I would focus on making sure that your Facebook advertising is working really well and targeted well. Continue to build your Instagram following. Instagram advertising and shopping is going to launch this fall. You want to make sure that it's going to be using the same back-end platform as Facebook's own advertising. If you have your targeting there done really, really well, you'll be able to extend it to Instagram and get your sales up for the holidays.
A lot of talk about customer reviews and the value of that content. Any specific tools or tactics for collecting those reviews?
Yeah, so Yotpo is the one that I hear most often. I will say that the other side of that, the negative of Yotpo that I hear the most often is that it's not indexable by search engines, and that can be quite painful. A lot of people then just build their own BigCommerce and as well as Shopify. I mean, I guess those are really the only two SaaS platforms I know well. Both have built-in ones. I don't know if Shopify's is indexable by search engines, BigCommerce's is. Yotpo sets up a lot of really great stuff though, so that as you send receipt emails out, it asks then for reviews and all of that jazz. So it works really, really well. It's just not indexable by search engines, so you might have to figure out a little bit of a way around that. Hopefully they update that soon though. It's a massive complaint.
But Power Reviews is indexable, and if you work with retailers, Power Reviews syndicates to retail as well. So anything you collect, the only two I know of are Bazaar Voice and Power Reviews, so you have to pay a lot more. But if you're in Target, Walmart, any of those, it's better to go with Power Reviews and Bazaar Voice because you get instant syndication.
Everyone hear that? Power Reviews and Bazaar Voice, indexable and instant syndication.
Your question here?
Two questions, if I may. I might have missed when you asked this. One, you mentioned payments. I know a lot of friends in e-commerce when they kind of drop off PayPal, because a lot of people have ridiculous experience with them. I had one friend recently, he was doing I think $2 million a year, no refunds, at all. And they just dropped him as a customer, essentially. They froze his whole account, and he wanted to drop him off completely, and his conversions would suffer. That was my one question, kind of problems with that. And my other one, just you're probably gonna get into this afterwards, but how BigCommerce compares to Shopify, just the features and all that.
Yes, my favorite topic. So PayPal, I have heard a few negative comments about PayPal. I haven't heard of a scenario specifically like that. It sounds absolutely terrifying. I don't know what to do, other than I do know Amazon Pay. From the people who have both Amazon Pay and PayPal on their site, here's the thing we can't quite figure out yet. Now, granted, we only launched Amazon Pay in March, but while 20 to 80% of people are checking out on those sites that implement it through Amazon Pay, it doesn't seem like it's actually completely increasing conversions on desktop. On mobile, it definitely is. But on desktop, it doesn't seem like it is. It does seem, though, instead that people are using Amazon Pay over PayPal, which probably isn't the best thing for PayPal to hear, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a preference there. And I'd imagine ultimately it's just because people trust Amazon, right? It's easy to click it, and your information's already there, and they do really cool, great things, and you don't feel like you get fraud or anything. So Amazon Pay. Oh, the other question, BigCommerce, Shopify. All right, I'll put my sales face on for everybody. You ready? No, ultimately, so Shopify is a really, really great platform. They have simplified things to make it ridiculously easy for you to get started, and that is amazing. When it's not amazing is as you begin to grow and scale. BigCommerce out of the box is going to offer you, it's going to save you about $300 to $5,000 annually in the amount of apps that you're having to download from that Shopify marketplace in order to actually make your store function like a true e-commerce store. At the very, very end startup level, you might not need all of that, but that includes 70 plus, discounts and coupons, gift cards and gift certificates, customer groups, 12 different analytics reports, also SEO. Man, this is what I was talking to the person who said what they did about e-commerce, about email and not caring about money. But the way that BigCommerce and Shopify do manage their product catalogs and categories are vastly different, and it's very, very important, especially as you're beginning to grow. Ultimately, you want to be investing in a platform that does SEO so well that you aren't ever going to have to move to another platform, right? That will cost you money and time, site redesigns, all of that jazz. So the way that it's different on Shopify, when you set up categories, you are setting up collections. Those collections are siloed. I can't tell you exactly what that means, but this is what has been told to me. Those collections are siloed, which is not the way that Google fundamentally reads sites. On BigCommerce, it's set up the way that Google fundamentally reads sites, where you have parent categories and child categories, and that is how you create collections. On Shopify, collections are called collections. Unless you're on Shopify Plus, you cannot change the name of those collections. In the URL, truly in the URL, you can tell a Shopify store off the bat by going to just their collections page, which is what they're all called, and it'll say collections, and you're like, oh, cool, Shopify. It's how they set it up across the board. That makes it really, really easy as you're getting started to upload things. It does hurt you over time, especially if you have a massive catalog. If you're only selling a few products, probably doesn't mean that much to you. And then because of the way that's set up, BigCommerce customers perform better with Google PLAs, just because Google prefers sites that are organized the way they want them to be.
Anyone else have any other questions? Oh, coming over.
Thanks. Do you have any tips for somebody just starting out on the easiest way, the number one easiest way to go from zero to $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month or something like that in e-commerce, with BigCommerce?
Yep. I would start with Facebook ads and bundling products. You need to not even just convince people of your value, you need to very much show your value. Bundled products work really, really well. Say what you're really wanting to sell is this really nice razor, and then you bundle that product through Facebook ads to also include a mirror and a tiny little brush, and sure, that's going to cost you more in shipping, but you're probably paying $1 or $2 for those additional things. Your margins are still really high. BombTech Golf is another really great company to look at who's done this. They're going to hit about 12-15 mil this year. Last year they did 6, and the year before they did 3, I believe, and the year before that they didn't exist. Eric Carlson is also a really, really great name in the Facebook ad game. He's doing a lot of courses online right now on exactly how to do it, how to use these bundles to increase sales, and not just increase sales in a year, but really to increase them in 3-6 month increments.
Thanks for that. Anyone else have any?
Sorry. Hi. Thank you for everything. We haven't talked much about abandoned carts, and it seems like in terms of increasing, just optimizing for conversion, it seems to be the fastest way. I just keep running into this with clients, and they haven't even touched it. It's a feature, they're not even using it. What do you have to say about it?
That's sad. Use abandoned cart. Your abandoned cart messages. These are people who have come to your website and gotten to a point where they have given you an email. You know what products they were looking at. And if you aren't doing anything with them, that's insane. You should be sending them an email probably within that first hour and saying, hey, did something happen? like, why did you leave? Actually, no. What you should say in that first email is you should drive home your value, right? You should drive home who you are as a brand, what you're doing, and why. Those are often super personal emails, right? Saying, for instance, with Bomb Tech Golf, hi, I'm Sully. Thanks so much for coming to the page. I saw you really liked this product. I noticed that you jumped. Not sure if it's something I did or said, but here's the reason why I started this business. Here's the story of how I got here. His story is really compelling, by the way. Like, got fired on the same day, found out his wife was pregnant, and started this whole thing. Anyway, so he goes through that. And if that doesn't get, and then again, include a link back to that product that they liked. Don't discount them. Try to not discount them as much as possible. In that second email, figure out a way to get a bundle or something in there. Send it to them, the next day. Honestly, the next day. I wouldn't wait too much longer and be like, hey, noticed you still hadn't come back. I'm not sure if you really want this product or what's going on. I don't know. You can figure out your text. But people who buy that product often buy this. Would you like it within a bundle? This is probably the bundle you're using on Facebook ads anyway. They're going to think it's a value. It's not a surprise value to you. You know you're already doing it. See if that gets them back. Send them a third email. Now, I typically only recommend 3 emails. Eric Carlson will recommend 7 to you. He actually recommends you email them until they come back or don't, and if they don't, you take them off your list. He's very aggressive about email. And then in that third one, I would often try to recommend some type of discount. But again, if you don't want to do that, just try to drive home the value. But yeah, definitely email them. All the platforms also have abandoned cart reports. So BigCommerce has abandoned carts out of the box, as well as a report that comes along with that. Number one negative complaint I hear about BigCommerce's abandoned cart emails is that they are ugly, and they are. But the second thing that comes after people tell me that is that they work better than most of the other ones that they've tried. So even the really, really pretty and designed ones. I think that's because HTML emails seem to be working better right now than any designed emails, because people like to be spoken to as though it's a friend or somebody emailing them. But I don't have the real data to back that up, so you might have to A/B test that. But Klaviyo, Receiptful, which is Conversio now, I believe, MailChimp, all of those, Infusionsoft, all have abandoned cart emails.
Yeah, we've actually spent the money to actually have our people call them directly.
Cool, and that's
Like you said, you can see everything they want. So a lot of times we noticed on our stats, it's basically, they just got a call that came in, something happened, so they really wanted it, they just left. So they're like, oh, thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, you can't know why they've abandoned their cart, so it might just take this extra trigger. One thing to say, MailChimp is a great sort of mail sort of delivery service. They have an awesome content style guide. So if you're feeling at sea, you're not quite sure what to say or how to say it, and it's available even if you're not a MailChimp customer. Just search for MailChimp style guide, and it just gives you loads of free things about how to structure your content, how to write your words, so you can get a good return.
Hey guys, I'm gonna interrupt the questions for a bit just to get our next presenter on. Hold your questions for a bit and we'll address them after this. So round of applause for these guys, thank you.